Nice.
randomly saying shit. I don't know why. I got up here and all of a sudden I got hit with onset drowsiness. Yeah,
It's probably the weather. What is up, guys?
Well, hello. So, 3, 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, that was loud and crisp.
That was super loud and crisp. We even, I think, clipped the microphone with that one.
God, maybe this will wake me up. Ooh, root beer flavored. I love it.
Root beer.
So
this week,
going down my throat.
Ooh.
That's kind of weird.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go with that, though.
We changed that microphone placements today to see if we can fix some of the problems we've had a little bit in the past. Hopefully it fixes it. We'll see.
We'll find out. I need another swig.
Yeah, another swig. Now, what's this one called again? This isn't Black Rifle.
This is not Black Rifle. This is Bum Energy. It's made by a company called Raw. And it literally tastes like straight root beer, but it's an energy drink. It's got the equivalent of a 12-ounce coffee of caffeine in it.
Ooh.
So,
you got a favorite root beer?
favorite root beer?
Was it Mad Dog was one of them? Or,
probably Barks.
Barks.
I'm a big Barks man.
What's the one everybody likes?
Mug?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I only know Barks and Mug.
Barks and Mug.
There's not your father's root beer, but that's alcoholic.
Yeah, I'm talking about like the most generic. I can't think of what it's called.
Barks?
Maybe Barks.
Barks?
It's probably Barks. I don't drink root beer.
Ruff. Or is it Mug? I don't know.
I
know when I was in Boy Scouts, we did this 50-miler hiking thing out in New Mexico, and there was this cantina, and they served root beer. And we were literally playing, it was like the Wild West, playing cards, drinking root beer, and just like talking to each other.
Okay.
And then the bartender guy was like, I know you guys are playing Western, but like if you flip that table, you're kicked out. And we're like, okay, we won't do it. We will. No, we won't.
So this week,
speaking of Westerns, because that's my
that's what I was getting
that's my good segue, right? Yeah. We are talking about the 2015 film called Sicario. It is a 2015, just like I said, American crime action thriller directed by Denis. Can you say his name?
I don't even know how to say it.
I can't. Damn it! I want to work with this guy too.
Say it the best you can.
Denis Villeneuve. Nah, he's never going to hire me. Written by Taylor Sheridan in his screenwriting debut. Now, Taylor Sheridan is the guy who was the sheriff in 2 or 3 seasons of Sons of Anarchy, and he famously asked to be written off the show. And this is what he went to do, which was screenwriting.
He's made a killer career out of it. Good God.
Yep.
Yellowstone, The Lioness, God.
1883, 1923.
Didn't he do, what is it? Chris Pratt was in it. Was it Chris Pratt? Wheels. It was
Hell on Wheels?
Yeah.
No, it's not Chris Pratt. That was Anston Mount.
Yeah.
He did not. That was on the same time as Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
The film stars Emily Blunt, Benicio Del Toro. I got that one right. And Josh Brolin. The film follows a principled FBI special agent who is enlisted by a government task force to bring down the leader of a powerful and brutal Mexican cartel. This film was selected to compete in the Palma de Oro at the 2015 Cannes Film Festival. It began a limited release in the United States in September 18th of 2015, followed by nationwide release October 2nd of 2015. The runtime is 121 minutes. The country of origin is the United States. The language is English with a little bit of Spanish in it when you watch the film. The budget was $30 million. The box office was 85.
It did really good. I do like this movie. I'm glad we was talking about trying to watch this one. I've seen the second one too. The second one is good. It's not as good, I don't think, as this one.
It's not as good. I like the opener of the second one pretty good because he just walks into that interrogation room in his shorts and his flip-flops. I'm just like, yep, that's an operator.
Alejandro.
No, that was Josh Brolin doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mixed
good.
that up. I haven't seen, was it that one called Day of the Dead or something?
It's right here. Day de Soldado.
Soldado.
Or something like that. I can't pronounce that. I'm terrible at Spanish. I need to pick up my Spanish.
I felt it every year, so.
Well, I was good at it. I was no. I'm lying. I was decent at it in high school, but I didn't even try in college. I should get back and try it. The film was praised for its cast performances, writing, direction, musical score, and cinematography. The film was nominated for Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, and Best Sound Editing at the 88th Academy Awards. It also earned a BAFTA nomination for Best Supporting Actor, Best Cinematography, and Best Film Music. This movie also had a sequel, as we were just discussing a second ago. It was released June 29th, 2018. And a third film is currently in development. So, you kind of already talked about it, but what are your initial thoughts?
Oh man, like I said, this is one of the movies I really do love. So it's kind of good to watch it. I think this year alone. I think this is the third time I've watched it. Just
Third time,
yeah.
Why so many times?
They just was on.
Okay.
So, I mean, like, it'd just be on, and I'd be like, hey, it's on, so let me watch it. So, I mean, I watched it again 2 days ago. It was last night. Actually, last night.
I did it.
Freshen up.
I did it. I don't remember. I same time, roughly. Yeah. It's been a few days, man.
Yeah.
It's been a few days.
You start seeing some things. I'm going to talk about one little thing that I finally noticed. Okay, the bridge shootout. All right. When they enter the car, and I've always talked about this before, but when you watch a movie a few times, your brain starts going, okay, let me start looking for something new almost. In the car, when the guy's pulling the gun up and they're starting to slowly, the Mexican guys are in there, you see the car keys are not in the ignition. And I was like, oh my God, there's no keys there, and it's just one of those things. It'd be a prop car anyway.
Someone, I don't think it's Jeffrey Donovan, but one of the Delta guys, his bolt carrier is to the rear. So,
see, you would notice something like that.
Yeah. Well, no, the thing is, I didn't notice that. So, the things I do for these podcasts is like, obviously, I watch the movie.
Yeah.
But I also go on YouTube. And I see what other people say about it. I listen to video essays. I read articles about it.
I need to do that because I just watch it for me.
Yeah.
I need to probably do more in-depth research.
Well, and for me to do this, so like I do have a what do you call it? Not a film. Like I took film class in college that taught me how to like analyze film and stuff like that. So me listening and watching these video essays, it puts me back in that mindset where I can analyze it.
Okay.
So that's why I mainly do that.
Yeah.
And then one of the videos, it was a veteran owned or not. Well, yeah, veteran owned whatever podcast show, and they mentioned it.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah. So I didn't see it, and I've seen the film.
You gave credit to the guys that really did see it, but I mean,
yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because I am an upstanding, honorable man.
He is an upstanding, honorable.
And those guys were.
Were they real military?
Yeah, they are. Beers and something. We'll have our producer Brandon look it up. It's a YouTube page, Beers and something. Just look it up on your YouTube.
Beers and something.
You don't have to actually play the video.
Like beer?
Yeah, like they drink.
I thought you meant beards.
No. Well, it could be beer and beards actually, because they have beards.
Is this the guys that were actually acting in it?
No. These are just like
the guys' commentary.
These are just vets just commentating on videos and stuff. So yeah. They go over like war movies and action movies and what's tactically correct and what's tactically incorrect, stuff like that. So
I got you.
Which brings me to this point. This movie is very tactically sound, besides the open bolt carrier group. My initial thoughts were this film is a masterpiece.
I'll give you that.
The director is a master. I'm a fan of his, even though I can't say his last name right at all. But this man has never, in my opinion, done a bad movie. I've seen all his films, and none of them are bad.
I don't think he didn't direct the second one, did he?
He did not.
Okay, that's what I thought when I did see that.
It was a man named Stefano Salmava.
Okay.
Salima. Yeah, Solima. Yeah.
Salima.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I did look into, and the Alejandro character apparently in the script has a whole lot more dialogue.
Yes. So
and, they wanted to make him more of a kind of not shadow character, but more mysterious.
Yeah. So this movie is a perfect example of you taking the script and it goes one direction, and then you're let's say you're a visionary master, and you decide to tell the same story but in a different way. So, and then we'll get into this when we get to the characters, but how, I don't know the right way to put this. The way the story is presented to you in cloak and dagger types of ways.
It is.
And in very interesting ways once you start realizing it.
Yeah.
But we'll just go off some very quick plot points. So at the beginning of the film, we start in Chandler, Arizona, where we follow special agents Kate Macer and Reggie Wayne. That is, let me scroll down. That's Emily Blunt and Daniel Kaluuya. Kaluuya. I can't pronounce these people's names. I'm so sorry, guys. Anyways, we're following them on a raid to a safe house where they discover dozens of decaying bodies hidden in walls. Once all their other backup come in and they start processing the scene, they find a booby trap that kills 2 police officers, but they also find a Spidey hole in that shed. So that cold open, what were your thoughts?
Oh man, I think that set the premise of the whole movie. I mean, sometimes when it's like it just starts out in that field going into the house, and then you enter into the car, the what is it, the big armored vehicle that's going to take it smack into the house.
Yeah.
I can't think what you call it, MRADs or something.
MRAPs,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it immediately tells you this film is going to be an action-packed kind of film. And the weird thing is, and this is one of the things I researched too, is Kate is not the main character throughout. So it starts out giving you this. Yeah, I didn't mean to.
Well, actually, we can get into this now.
Yeah.
Kate actually is the main character.
Yeah, but it's
she's not the protagonist.
Yeah.
The protagonist is Alejandra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's. I think the way they set it up, though, they want you to think in the very beginning, this whole thing is going to be about her story and her story and her story, and it is for a majority part. But I from that moment, it's like when you see that it just starts out hard. I like when films do that. You know, it's like I think it was Batman when they started it out with the Joker. It was a hard start. I can't remember. I got to probably rewatch that, but
like Batman '89.
No, the newer one.
When it opens with the Joker.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, trying to figure out how I want to say this. So with this one, excuse me. So how it opens is it tells me this is going to be a brutal movie.
Yeah.
Morality. You're about to see what war and these types of things do to people's psyches. Mm-hmm. When we meet Kate, she's very much by the book, very naive.
Yeah.
And but also like, who wrote the book? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who wrote the book on this is how we do things?
Yeah.
And as we progress in this film, like this is the reason why we're following Kate is because she's an outsider to this world as we are.
Yeah.
And so she's being thrown in these situations and she's not being given all the information and she's pissed off and trying to get information and they're not telling her. And that's one of the key things that makes this film very unique, and you actually start putting yourself more into Kate's shoes.
Yeah.
Because if this was a stereotypical action thriller crime film, what would we be doing? We would be following Alejandro. We would see his family being killed. Yeah. We would see him buying guns, getting training, and then he links up with the FBI or the CIA, and then we see Kate come in as just like the novice. I can hang with the big boys character. No, we're not doing that in this film, folks.
Yeah, it's a good way to throw that spin on there early on. I mean, even from the very start, when you start seeing the bodies, and the one dude fucked up. That's what I think. If he just would have went, I mean, you gotta think about it, like the cartel and all. If that dude did not shoot that ball, maybe they would have found the bodies. Let's just be honest, because I mean that's their job to inspect. But man, that opened that thing up a whole lot quicker. That hole in the wall, and then they're pulling see the bodies.
With my research, that's what they were trying to do. But like for me, just watching the film with no research into it at all, I thought they were like going in just looking for straight drugs.
That's what I did too. Or when I first saw it the very first time, I thought, they're going in, they're going to be busting I thought it was like a drug raid. I didn't think anything to do with like a Mexican cartel.
Yeah.
Even Sicario, which I mean, I just thought that was when I first saw it. I thought that's just like some name that they just put. So I was like, okay. The very first time I was like, okay, they're coming in and they're looking probably for a tunnel or they're looking for drugs, and then there's nothing there but bodies. I was going to trap door.
I was going to look up this one thing, but it's all good. We'll continue on. All right. So
let me ask you something.
Yes.
They never said really, or maybe I missed it every time I watched it. Did they ever say why the bodies were there? Were they people like politicians?
They never said why, but probably they were the owners of the house, or they were people who were trying to get out of the life, or probably people who fucked up somehow.
Yeah, and they just
killed them and put them in a wall. Put them in the wall. Yeah, that's what they do. They hide money in walls.
Yeah, drugs.
They'll hide drugs.
They had bodies.
Do I have any practical knowledge of that? No, but I've seen it in so many movies.
Yeah.
All right, so from that part, we get to the head of the FBI, like section division chief.
They're all sitting down,
and they're bringing in Josh Brolin's character, and you don't know what's going on. Like, and that's the cool thing about this film is all about ambiguity and gray morality. So you don't know he works for the CIA, but you're probably inferring he's working for the CIA. But again, we're going off of Kate's perspective. That's why she is our main character. And that's like the definition of a main character for film or books or anything is it's the character you're following through the story. This is your person's lens into this world. Doesn't necessarily have to be the protagonist.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, the protagonist and the main character are the same person. Every now and then, they're different, though. So for this film, they are different. And it makes the film way more interesting, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because as you're going through it, we get to the Josh Brolin character, and it's like, yeah, sure, let's get you on. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's take these people out. Because she is still in that naivety that she's like, okay, yeah, so I get to play with the big boys today.
And then also get the real people responsible.
Yeah. And you still are.
Yeah. You're getting the real people responsible, without a doubt.
The real people,
You're going to the head of the snake.
Exactly. And then we get to El Paso on the Army base, and then you're with all the Delta operators.
The Texas Rangers.
And I just realized that after this viewing of it, one of the Texas Rangers is actually one of the bad guys in one of the seasons of Yellowstone. So I
thought that when I saw it just recently, because I just recently, probably a few months back, I started watching Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And then I finally got a chance to finish it. So we watched some of them. And I noticed that as well. It's like, that's one of the, I swear it was in Yellowstone, and now it makes sense.
Well, that's another reason why I would love to work in the Sheridan verse, as I like to call it. Is like he sort of is like it's sort of like a play troupe. Whatever people he hires, he tries to bring them back for something else, and I love that about the man.
That Indian girl, I can't think of her name. She was in Yellowstone. She was in Wind River. She's like in about everything.
Oh, Kelsey. I know what. It starts with an A for her last name. Yeah. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think she's Indian, though.
You don't think she's Indian? Mm-mm. Oh.
No.
She plays Indian really well, though.
Are you talking Native American, or are you talking
Native American?
Oh, I thought you meant like
no,
in India.
Feathers.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm so used to saying Native American now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get to the briefing with the Delta operators, the Ranger, well, not the Rangers.
Texas
the
Rangers.
Texas Rangers, CIA personnel. And then this is where we meet our protagonist and the most interesting man of mystery in the world. Mm-hmm. I don't have a Dos Equis.
What is it? What is it? They always used
Stay
to say.
thirsty, my friends.
Stay thirsty. Yeah. Well, he used to do the beer commercial, and they would always say Antonio Banderas.
Oh yeah,
I used to love that. I'm like,
yeah.
That's Benicio Del Toro, dude.
Del Toro, guys. Yeah. But so like we meet Alejandro, and he's not dressed like the rest of these people. He's in a suit. Mm-hmm. And then we get the mission briefing, which is just super basic. This is what we're doing.
They come in at the end, too.
Yeah. Well, I love Jeffrey Donovan in his little cameo role. Like he plays an operator just so well, and that's how we are. We are. Well, I'm not an operator, but I was in the Army. We're very like just nonchalant, just like, oh yeah, those are gunshots. We're not in the right part of the world here, guys, but all right, let's just do this.
Man, this is probably the second role I ever saw him in. Because the first one was Burn Notice, and he plays this goofy, kind of CIA guy.
Well, he is playing a CIA guy.
Yeah. I'm saying that he was more kind of goofy and kind of, I'd say like, like in Burn Notice, he's just all kind of square. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this dude is a great actor because I just thought he was playing himself in Burn Notice. And then you realize, I think he's been in Marvel and stuff, and he's a very robust character. He can become a lot of things.
I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Oh, yeah.
So we get to the section that we're going into, not El Paso. Where are we going into? We're going into
El Paso happens.
No, we're going to Juarez.
Yeah.
We're going to Juarez,
yeah.
So we cross the border. We're with Kate's perspective right now. Again, they're talking about the Mexican cartel. They're showing us this beast, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, they're not even showing us this beast. And that's one of the cool things about this film is they're talking about the beast.
And they're showing the heads cut off. And
they're showing what this beast does.
Yeah.
You're seeing, headless bodies. You're seeing bodies that are hanging off of rooftops and things like that. They blocked off a section of the border so you can just go down the road.
Yeah.
And then once you're over there, she's looking around. She's never done this before. And that's another thing about this is like they don't tell her why she's even there.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny that it's just like, you want the job? Okay, and they always tell her, what is it? Just watch.
Yeah, just watch.
Observe is what they say. Just observe.
Just observe.
It's like, you're just coming along for the ride. And she don't want to be there for the ride,
No, she wants to be an active participant in this. And she's just being reactive the entire time. And she's like trying to just ask Alejandro, because Alejandro at this point is sort of being like a very laxed mentor
in a way,
to her. It's like, you're about to see and hear things that won't make sense.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow as best as you can. And she's like trying to figure out like what's going on. And he just makes this great comparison that's just like, hey, you're trying to ask me how a clock works. Let's just watch the time.
Yeah, let's just watch the time.
Yeah. And it's all because they're trying to not tell her this one.
They got to keep her in the dark.
Got to keep her on.
Yeah.
Not even that. Like, well, yeah, because they're risking. They're risking
Well, even later on, and I don't mean to jump ahead, but
no, you're good.
It's like when she keeps thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to get in all this shit and all this stuff," and then her commander, she's sitting in the office with him, and he said, "Look, this is what's happening here." He said, "Is not by elected. They're by elected politicians, not appointed. Everything you're doing, even though you think you're coloring in outside the lines, you said the lines has moved."
Yeah.
At that point, I thought that character would be like, "I get it, this is a bureaucracy thing, so I can literally do, and if these guys are doing whatever the hell they need to, I need to just accept that." And she still didn't. That's the thing that pissed me off about her character.
Well, this is the thing about her character is like
she's by the book.
She's very by the book, and what she's saying, she just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to her. Like she's used to the language of like ones and zeros.
Oh yeah,
and these people are speaking 3 and 4.
Yeah,
it makes no sense to her.
Yeah,
at all.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, no. So we get across the border. She's seeing things. She's hearing things. They stop for a second because there's a gunfight going on down the road. And Jeffrey Donovan's like, those aren't firecrackers. And you can tell that she's freaking out because she is in an environment that she does not understand.
Without a doubt.
She only understands that specific mission set with her FBI team, which is hostage rescue.
And it's probably also that she's used to, everything's probably been planned for months, from the breach, from when, like on her side of, everything's documented by a judge is giving you, okay, I'm giving you clearance.
Yes,
and you're,
yes, exactly.
These guys are just like, hey, when we go in,
we're going
in. We're coming out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they get to the prison, they get the prisoner, and then they start coming back. And what's weird is like you're in the Wild West. Everyone is a potential target, even the police escort that you have with you.
Yeah.
Like how wild is that? That's another reason why she's low key. Like she's not like freaking out.
Yeah.
But she is like this. She's just completely not ready and not prepared for this type of situation.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really know what to do. She's just reacting off of pure instinct.
Yeah.
Which sometimes that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then we get to the bridge because the police escort go off. And now we're on to the first main thing out.
This is probably one of my favorite scenes, the bridge shootout.
It's very tense with what's going on.
Like you said, these guys are very strategic, how they even got the actors, rolling the windows down and everything of setting up for a real gunfight. I loved every bit of that. I mean, that's one of the times like I've been into a film and I've just like, I feel like I'm not watching a movie. I feel like this is like, you're there almost, and I think that's a great thing about cinema when you break that kind of line. But I mean, that whole scene flowed real good, perfectly. I think
so too.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of my favorite scenes. I mean, especially like driving out when what is it? The dude's like, "Don't look at us, don't look at us," and they got him on the ground when they're literally leaving.
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's a great way of doing escalating tension. So. You got to get here. You got to get here. You got to get here. Oh, we're stopped. All right, cool. Well, not cool, but okay. Just keep doing your situational awareness. This is not good. Something that we did not plan is happening. And they also had that line. It's like the cartel doesn't hit you when you go in. They hit you when you come out or trying to come out. So they already know what's about to happen because they know the game plan.
Yeah.
And then you start, eyes on everything. And then you
rooftops.
Rooftops. And then
and that's what, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
When that part happened, the very first thing in my mind was, I'm like, they're getting ready to get in. They haven't got to the bridge yet for that shootout. When he's like, be on the lookout for, the rooftops, I thought they're going to get ambushed now. Even though the one guy said more than likely when it's going to happen is at the return home.
At the border, yeah.
But I mean, I was like, wait, and I was like, oh my God. First time I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
And then they get their eyes on those two cars, and it's like, okay, escalating tension.
Yeah.
Get your guns up. Alejandro's like, you got your pistol with you? Yeah. All right.
Service pistol, get it out.
Get it out.
Yeah.
And then he clocks that one car, and then he puts his MP5 on the leftover. And that's another cool little tidbit is like, he's not Mexican Special Forces, but Mexican Special Forces use MP5s.
Oh,
yeah. Not their primary weapon, but they do use them.
Yeah.
And then you hear gun, and then all of a sudden everyone just gets out.
Oh yeah.
And because they already know what's up. If someone starts presenting a gun,
we're showing it.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West. Hey, I want to make sure I'm going to show you what I got. It's time to go.
It's also a little different. So, and what I mean by that is when I was in Afghanistan, I'm regular Army, right? And every household gets one AK. That's just the law. But in a situation like that, we can't necessarily react that way.
Yeah.
We have to wait till they literally fire upon us.
Yeah.
Because it's black and white in the regular Army.
Yeah.
But when it's CIA, something like that's in between the gray area, you can just immediately go out there.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's also like it shows that first kind of opening part. It shows this kind of bipartisan that Mexico knows what's going on. They're cool with it. America knows what's going on. They're cool with it. but let's not create too much. Like the one dude when he's leaving, he said none of the shit's going to even make the news. No. You know, it's like they know.
Chaos. That's what it is. It's ordered chaos.
Yeah, it's ordered chaos. And, you know, they get we get to do what we got to do. You know, we don't have to wait for clearance, you know.
And that's one of the cool things about this movie is it's so brutal and realistic in its depiction of the world. Even though everything that they're doing in this movie isn't necessarily real. Yeah. It's still a fictitious story. It's still, yeah. You're getting a good grasp of this world, but I don't think it necessarily is realistically like this. Yeah. Not to the degree they depict in the film. But anyways, they see Gunn. They pull their weapons up on them. They assault them, but but they're not pulling the triggers just yet. Yeah. They wait. It's only until they tell that one guy, "Hey, put it down, don't do anything," and then he makes the motion as if he's going to pull it, and then they take them all out.
And then it goes to the little Honda.
And then they don't even steal the Honda. They just shoot everyone. They shoot out the tires and stuff, and then they tactically retreat to their vehicles. Yeah. Even to the point where Alejandro pops the back half or the back hatch.
Yeah, I love
and
that.
They both get in.
Yeah. They was watching.
It's tactically sound to do that.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, I kept thinking, I thought when they was driving, and that might be a little flaw, but I thought there was another vehicle behind them. I didn't think they was the last vehicle.
They were the last vehicle.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh Brolin was in the commanding vehicle, which was
the guy. He never got
with
out.
the guy, which was the lead vehicle. Yeah. Or the middle one, because there was 3 trucks.
Was there 3?
There was 3 trucks, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept thinking. I was like,
you typically do 3 truck columns. Yeah. And your center is your command and control.
Yeah, and then you got your back that's going to be the support in a way. And you got your guy in the and then Brolin never got out. But I like to see what he would have done, man. I'm not gonna lie. He was a
Josh Brolin?
Yeah. I like his character.
Oh, I love his character. I would have loved to have played that character.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, right. And then we get back and they take him away, and then they hop onto the plane, and she's still trying to like just figure stuff out.
Yeah. The interrogation scene, the one thing I hated about that, like, you know, it's leading up when he's talking about, you know, like the attorney stuff, and then he's talking to that one guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry what happened to your kids," and "I'm sorry what happened to you," never says kids or wife. And then he grabs that bottle of water, you know, that big jug, and he says, "You don't need to go in there because, you know, basically things are going to get a little messed up." When he stands over that guy and he pops his legs up and that's the one part I hated. I was like, you know, I don't know if that's a Colombian style move. You know, when the guy's like he's looking up at him, he gets up, and I kept thinking every time I've ever seen it, I kept thinking, is he going to piss on him? You know, because that's the only way I would ever get that close to somebody is to completely insult them by pissing on them or something. I was like, he's getting all up on him. Like, I was like, I think he's uncomfortably.
That's the point. He's trying to make him uncomfortable, and he's just asserting dominance. Yeah. But this is a key moment in this film and in the mystery that's being unraveled, because if we go back to the old style of action thriller we're talking about, that moment that they describe in the past is the inciting incident for Alejandro. But that's one of the beauties about this film and how they shot it, is because you don't see it. Yeah. It's being heard. And that's the cool thing about this film is like there are little plot points that move this story along, almost like reveals for Alejandro. But they're always from the perspective of Kate. Yeah. And why is it like you're getting little tidbits of information?
When she finds it out, we find it out too.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's the turn, and that's the change in perspective is that moment. So we're literally just sticking with her with like, even when she's not in the room, we're still sticking to her perspective. Yeah. And what's revealed in those scenes is he was a prosecutor. Yeah. And his family was killed. Yeah. Okay, cool. So why is he actually against these people? They probably killed his family. Yeah. You know?
Well, he's Colombian and they're Mexican. So that's what I played off was the Medellin cartel. The Medellin was the first ones. What was it? Pablo Escobar. They was the first big narcos. Yeah. So and I remember from the series Narcos, which I love that show. The Mexican cartel became like huge. I mean, when they never worked together until they became a cartel under that Felix. I can't remember his name, but and they became massive. I mean, like the Colombians were having to go through them at that point to get stuff into Mexico.
I was under the impression that Alejandro was actually Mexican.
Oh, well, he says when she asked him, she said, where are you? She said something when I think it was on the plane, and he said, Cartagena. And she said, oh, you're Colombian. And that's when I was like, oh, maybe that's why the Mexicans had a problem with him, because he's Colombian. But I may be wrong. He could be Mexican, and he just was working maybe for Mexico in Colombia.
I think that's how I took it.
Because I couldn't figure that part out. Because if he's Colombian, why would especially like a Juarez cartel even be able to get to him or his family in Colombia?
Yeah.
He'd have to have been living in Mexico, which, I mean, that might be a little plot twist maybe they didn't even think of.
No, I think that's how it goes, because even the guy he's talking to, like, he's Mexican government.
Yeah.
So
during before the interrogation scene, that guy, you could tell he's something up there big.
And I just love that bit with Josh Brolin. It's just like, hey man, you can tell us. No, I'm not going to spend it.
No habla español.
Inglés. Yeah, exactly. It's just
he looks like,
all right. And he just sits on the
table.
You're
going to see a friend of mine, and we'll see if you see different.
Yeah, exactly. And then he walks in. It's like, help. He's like, why are you asking me?
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah.
You said no habla inglés, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. That dude was scared too.
And then we get further on down into the film, the script, and then I would say the next part that like really like
the cavern shootout,
not that,
tunnels.
Not even that part. Yeah, I would honestly say
John Bernthal.
With the bar.
Yeah.
And how did you think about that?
John Bernthal is probably one of my favorite actors. I'm not gonna lie. That dude is. I'd love to work with him one day, just because I think he's scary good. I mean, he becomes characters. I was hoping he would have been more into the story, because like you said in the beginning, where there's a potential Sicario 3. And it's like, I'd like to see his character return, but there's no way in hell his character can return because he's a crook cop. Man, I kept thinking when that scene happened, I'm going to go back to when I first saw it, because, it's like after you've seen it so many times, you already know what's happened. And I was like, okay, so maybe this character is coming in at a point he's going to be like an ally to these guys. But then it's like you realize the setup is she had to go enter the fucking bank, and then you realize he actually is working for the cartel, doing this whole money thing. Man, I love this character. And when he pulls, it's like, I hated that when he pulled all this stuff out, he's sitting on top of her trying to get ready to get laid. And then she looks over and it's like, dude.
And she sees the armband.
The damn armband.
Yep.
Which ironically, we have the same color.
I know. Why you think I wore orange and black that night, just in case?
Oh, man. Pull that stuff out. Somebody will be like, wanting to fight you.
Exactly.
No, I hated just that little bit. I was like, oh, man.
I thought that was a very expertly written scene, and even a transition from the bank outfit, because, and what's cool is like Taylor Sheridan's writing. He's making little bitty, he's making lines, not callbacks, but like foreshadowing stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. The partner characters all being like, hey, you might want to get a new bra. It doesn't matter because no one's been with me, so I don't need to get a new bra. All right.
And then he mentions he's divorced, recently divorced.
Yeah, but what was interesting is like you're seeing John Bernthal's perspective when they walk into the bar. He's in his truck. And then when you go into the bar, they walk up to the bar. He's casually just walking up behind, and he just walks on.
Yeah.
And then he sits at the bar doing his thing, kind of just like, kind of deal like that, just super nonchalant. I didn't even realize he was in the film until, I guess it's my second or third time watching it too, until he walks over. I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he was just getting off of Walking Dead at this point. I was like, oh, cool, he's playing another cop. All right, cool. Oh, he seems like a nice guy this time. Then you see the turn, and you're like, no, he's still technically kind of playing Shane. Okay.
And I like the writing of that whole thing too, because it's like, when he's looking, you don't know it yet until they're sitting at the table and they're talking. But when she looks over, it's like he's looking at her like, I've seen you before. And then she said that, with when the friend comes over and he's going to buy him beers, he says, her friend Reggie's like, he saw you play baseball. So it's like the cartel was so smart, they literally like dug into who the hell she was. Is going to put somebody that would be in, worked with Reggie, and I love that whole writing. And then it's like it ties it in that she's even been around him at the softball game. And it's like, oh man, that's why I kept thinking, I was like, this is going to be a cool character. And then you find out, you're like, oh man, he's trying to kill her, And one thing I love too is like for that one scene when Benicio Del Toro when she was like, "Oh, I was sleeping with my hitman." It's like, no, he's just trying to get information because you could tell when he was squeezing her throat, he didn't want to. He didn't want to kill her.
Yeah, no, he's just trying to get information.
Yeah, and it like, led up to that.
Yeah, but this is also what you're seeing is like you're seeing all these other characters deal with violence and dealing with like doing violence, and like they don't really want to do violence because they haven't committed to doing violence. But when you look at Alejandro, he's committed.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he shoots Kate, don't mean to jump ahead, but I mean, he is on a path, and nothing is going to stop that path at all. Kills the cop. He didn't have to kill him. That one cop. Sergio, whatever.
I forgot his name, but like we'll get to the cop in a second. Yeah. That's an interesting perspective because if
I thought he would be more of a character.
And there's a point to that.
Yeah,
there's a point to that. Why you just see him in the day in the life, and it's a subplot. So we can just talk about it now. So there's 3 perspectives that I see in this film. There's Kate's, there's Alejandro's, and then there's his. Now, why is that? You're seeing a woman who is literally being broken down and showing the reality of the situation of this war on drugs, this war on the border. You're seeing Alejandro, a victim of this war, completely changed, completely on mission.
Oh yeah.
No humanity.
Yeah.
And then so you're seeing 2 different perspectives of
2 different worlds
in a way of the war, right? And then you're seeing the part that's related to it, but almost like it's not related at all. Like you're watching this and it's not related. He's a cop. He goes to work. He comes home. We know he's probably working for the cartel or something.
I had a feeling from the very
beginning. We don't know actually what he does.
Yeah.
And you find out in the film when they're doing the assault. He's just a driver.
Yeah.
He's just a mule.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually shoot anyone. He doesn't threaten anyone. All he does is just
transportation from A to B.
That's all he does.
Yeah. And since he's a cop, people are going to leave him alone.
Yeah. Exactly. So those are the 3 perspectives of this film. But what was my original point?
Let me throw an angle at that.
Okay.
This is how, because I saw it a few times, how I kind of see the cop. How I see it is Kate's the outsider. And Alejandro's the inside of this world. You start out with the outside, then you end up with the inside. And this little piece of this cop don't make sense until and what I think is the person that's in between the 2 worlds that has to live there. You got the outside, you got the inside. And then you got this guy that, it shows he lives like basically. He's got, money, not like big money. He makes decent salary, I guess, in order to keep his family up. And at the very end, and this is why I think this whole thing is it's kind of like the guy who has to live, he has to live on the inside.
Yeah.
The kid at the end, when at the very last scene, and when he's kicking the ball, and then you hear the gunshots go off, and they all stop for a minute and they go back to the game. It's like they have to live in this world where Alejandro's on the inside and you got Kate on the outside. And these people are they're there. They're used to the sounds of gunfire. They're used to probably people getting shot in front of them,
I'll give you another perspective.
Okay.
And I think this was what I was trying to hit home on.
I probably have. Gotcha.
Is Kate and not even him, the cop, he's a victim.
Oh, without a doubt.
He's a victim of this.
Yeah.
And
he's forced
the reason why you're shown his day in the life is, spoiler alert, when you get to the very end of his character arc in this film, he gets brutally and just carelessly murdered.
Yeah.
And why do they show you that? Why do they go through that entire? Why do they go through the trouble to do that? It's because they're showing you that Alejandro is so far gone. Yeah. He's lost his humanity. He's never getting that back. This is what he is now. This is what this entire war, the situation has done to him.
It's made him. He's made a new beast.
Yeah, to what he says at the very end of the film, he is a wolf.
Yep.
And he is only for his mission.
Yeah.
And that's revenge.
Yeah.
And whatever will get him his revenge, he will do it.
And that's what Josh Brolin says too. He says, she's like, who is he? And one little thing, man, I loved about Josh Brolin's character is when they were getting ready to do the tunnel scene. And I want to talk about that tunnel scene. I know we've been back and forth.
Go for it.
Man, I love that he's sitting there and he finally says, well, the CIA has to have an asset inside the government in order to...
inside the country for them to be able to...
Yeah, to be able to operate inside the country. Yeah. And you just see, like, Kate the whole time, and that Reggie's just like, we've known this, but you keep, like, playing that you're not CIA. And I was like, he finally's telling y'all guys just straightforward, oh, yeah, y'all are on for the adventure, And, welcome to the world, Now you're getting ready to see I think they thought that was the last day anyway, that they're getting ready to go in, and Alejandro's going to do his job anyway. So let's go and just give you the whole spiel right then. Just their shock on their face when they're like, she's like, I've known this the whole time, and now you're just saying, yeah, we're the CIA. Yeah, man.
We can get to the tunnel stuff if you want now. That's okay with that. Okay,
I love that scene too, man.
Well, what'd you like about it?
Man, everything. One thing I'm a big about Blue Hour, and everybody always knows Golden Hour, but Blue Hour is what happens about 45 minutes after Golden Hour. And when the soldiers are walking before you see the night vision and stuff, that is straight a good shot of Blue Hour. And the silhouettes and stuff, I mean, that whole scene was so pretty. Me and Brandon's we're doing a little short film, and I'm actually been using some of the ideas from this because I want to go for night vision for some of this stuff. And then the IR look, with the whole X-ray look, I was like, God, I mean, this is that whole scene put together is just that and the bridge, the opening scene. I just love everything about it, that they utilize Blue Hour, and that's one of the things. It's so hard to get that because you got just such a low window. Those guys walking, so I mean that's me.
That's true.
Then they get inside, and you're just following her while. I mean, I don't think she even pulled a shot off, did she? She shot that one guy shot that gun out of her hand, rifle. And then Reggie got him. And it's just when Josh Brolin looks back, and it's almost like he knows she's going to follow Alejandro. Yeah. When he starts, it's like he looks back at the viewer, and he's like, and he almost gives that face like, you can come with me, or you can go see what's down that rabbit hole. And she chooses the rabbit hole, Yeah. And that's, I mean, what did you feel about that scene before I say anything else?
It was very tactically sound.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this from like the perspective of like military, army, not necessarily an operator. They wouldn't be using nose nods. They would be using the 4-eye nods. I figured there's some things. Yeah.
And even the guy says, we're putting on our night vision goggles. I know Eric used to call MVGs or something like that.
What we call them nods.
Nods.
Yeah.
I figured they would at least say that.
Night optic device. Yeah.
It's just when the guy was like, we'll get our night vision. I was like, oh, God, come on. That y'all could have wrote just that little line a little better. I don't think an operator would be saying that.
I saw this movie a while ago, so like I'm actually losing a lot of the small, minute details of it. But like, so again, we are at the climax, not the climax. We're at probably the epitome of Kate's, just like not knowing what's really going on in this whole thing. And we're following her perspective in the tunnels. And that's another thing that this movie does really well is less is more. So it's like you see these operators just going ham on these people, but that's also part of the point is like before when they were on the bridge, they were like, okay, so what's our ROEs?
Yeah.
Rules of engagement. Yeah. And they're told, do not fire unless given some indication that you're about to be fired upon.
They're going into Mexico. They don't give a. It's like, do what you need to do.
Kate, at that point, this is the very beginning of the film, she's like, okay, that sounds about right. Like, that's what we do in the FBI teams. Okay, cool. And then they get to that point, and the Delta commander is asking Josh Brolin, hey, what's our ROE? Say, okay, cool. I can finally tell you now. Weapons free.
Yeah.
What weapons free means is kill everything you see that's not a friendly.
Yeah. And also, it's like them two wasn't supposed to be there. Remember, they chose to come.
Yeah.
So I love that part of the writing too. It's like they're trying to make her feel almost comfortable in the beginning. But at that point, it's like, you ain't supposed to be here anyway. You chose to come. Like the one Delta dude says, just don't shoot my fucking people. You know, when they're going in, you let us do our job. Don't you shoot at my fucking people, you know? And I was like, okay, you're not supposed to be here anyway. They're going to allow you to tag along. So they don't give a shit at this point. They don't care what the bureaucracy is. They don't care about their feelings or anything.
No.
You know?
And you even see Kate's and her partner's perspective. They're both like, what the f***? We are totally not supposed to do this, because they are so by the book.
Yeah.
I mean, even that dude, he's an Iraq war veteran, but he became a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like even when they're doing the detainee scene, and we can go back to that in a second, you know, he's lawyering them, and they finally get some information. They're like, okay, cool. Yeah, we can keep doing this. And then they walk on, and Josh Brolin's like, fucking lawyers. But yeah, so it was interesting. So like, you know, we're down in these tunnels, these caves. And that's another cool thing about Taylor Sheridan's writing is these plots are not very complex.
No.
But
he builds them very well.
But what we're really watching is character development. And that's what's interesting about these films. So yeah, we're down in these tunnels, and you know, we're her perspective. We can't see anything. It's very chaotic. A lot of rounds are going off. Bright muzzle flashes are happening, so you can't really tell what's going on.
I loved how they did that too.
And this is how war is. It's very, very chaotic. And then, you know, her rifle gets shot out of her hand, and then her partner takes the guy out, and she checks her rifle, and she probably sees the round is literally inside the action, so the weapon's inoperable. Yeah. So she drops it, and then she pulls her sidearm. Pistol, yeah. And then everyone's going down a certain tunnel, and for whatever reason, she decides to go down this tunnel, because during that op order, they're creating a diversion for Alejandro to go embed himself. Yeah. And so she goes down that tunnel that Alejandro goes down. And why is that? Because she has to know. She has to know what is going on. She needs answers.
He's that closure.
She wants the truth. No, well, not even that. She wants the truth. Yeah, not closure. She just wants the truth.
She don't like it.
No,
she does not like it.
She does not like operating in the black.
Yeah.
She has to know what's going on. She would be a regular army person, without a doubt. So, but anyways, we get there, and then that's when we see the cop.
Yeah.
Alejandro takes out the other guy, does not take out the cop. And then he shoots Kate, because Kate's about to like just stop him.
She fired. She's drawing on him.
Yeah, she is drawing on him. Yeah. And then he just pops her without hesitation in the vest.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the last time you'll pull a pistol on me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you can see that fear at the end of the movie. Almost like, I loved it when he starts slowly turning around. I just kept thinking, I was like, he told you don't do that ever again, girl. You're going to go do that.
And this is what you're seeing systematically, just how brutal this guy is, and how lost he truly is. Because in this point, he's shooting a law enforcement. He's shooting one,
and he really likes
shooting one
too.
Of his teammates. Yeah, exactly.
And even like at the end, he said, you remind me, and he says it multiple times, even when he saved her from John Bernthal's character. He's like, you remind me of somebody special. And then he finally says at the end, you remind me of my daughter. And you sit there and you start thinking about that, and you go, he would put a bullet in you for even as much as he sees so much of his daughter that's dead, in order to fulfill the mission that he has put himself on.
And why is that? Because at the end of the day, you're not my daughter.
Yeah. I've got to go avenge her and my wife.
Well, not avenge. He's getting revenge. It's different. He's not avenging.
He's not avenging.
He's revenging.
He's not an avenger. He's a revenger.
Exactly. So at this point, he's in the car with the cop, and they're driving off to the house. And then Kate climbs out of the tunnels.
And smacks
the hell Josh Brolin, and he fucks her up. And then Kate's partner's trying to like get him off, and all the Delta guys are like, no.
Yeah, y'all two have played nice with you.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna fucking sit the down.
This is our world.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you shouldn't even been here, period, anyway.
And then this right here is the perspective change, because this whole time, our perspective is Kate's.
Yeah. And it only becomes him.
And then we get the reveal. Mm-hmm. And the reveal is Alejandro will work for anybody, Mexicans,
anybody,
Colombians, whoever. It doesn't
points
matter.
Him in the direction.
Whoever will point him in the direction of who killed or who beheaded his wife and dropped his daughter in a vat of acid.
Yeah.
And from that point of view, our perspective changes, and now our perspective is on Alejandro. And now we are now on the traditional action crime thriller sort of style of movies that we've all seen.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that?
I love, like I keep saying, my favorite scene. This film has so many of my favorite scenes. I mean, across so many films. I love that when he gets in there, and I kept thinking, I hope he shoots the kids and the wife. I was like, so many times I was like,
you cold-hearted bastard.
I am, but that's just one of the things I was sitting there when I first watched it, I was like, oh man, he's going to go try to give this guy, he's been this badass this whole time, and he's going to take this guy, like when his request is, don't do it in front of my boys. And I was like, oh. And then when he sits back and he says, it's time to meet God, and I was like, oh man, I know what he did. And then it reveals them all. I was like, yes, I love this bad guy. For me, I am a cold-hearted bastard. But, I mean, he's setting it up. Those kids will come back for him for revenge, and they're going to have, I mean, seriously, they'll have a whole army behind them to get him. So, I mean, you got to take them out. And the wife, one thing I loved is even though the kids didn't speak English, you could tell she did. Because when he said the daughter, she was like, and you just see, I mean, that's when I was like, yeah, I hope he gets them all. And he did.
Well, it's also great just tension building because he's taking out a couple of the guards with suppressors.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, is just casually walking up. And
leaves the housekeeper.
And this is another interesting thing about how we're changing perspective too, is because, again, Kate doesn't know the cartel.
No.
Doesn't know these people.
She knows them only by the book, almost.
Yes. So they are the big bad. They are the beast. These are all the things that they do. But she never sees the man behind the curtain. Yeah. Now, Alejandro is a prosecutor. He knows the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And that's why we're also changing the perspective. And that's why we're now in a more traditional action thriller.
Yeah.
Where you actually know the bad guy. It's not this big, shadowy presence that's just lurking behind the curtain, like it has been this entire film up until this point. And then he sits down, and what's he do? He doesn't shoot them out of malice. He's just like, finish your meal.
Yeah. Eat. He tells the kids, eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're fine. We're all humans here. Yeah. We're fine.
Do they speak English? No. We'll do this in English then.
We'll do this in English then, yeah. And this is the thing that you really see his humanity's gone. It's like the cartel guy says, hey, this wasn't personal. This was just business.
And I think that right there was a set that he was like, I'm going to kill her and them two in front of you. Because it was, I mean, and I love the setup for that when he said, it's not personal. I was like, oh, that would be, if you said that to me, I'd be wasting them too, just the same way I'm making you,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You want to elicit a response from this person.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why he takes out the kids and his wife first and lets them suffer in it for a good 30 seconds.
And then he's like, eat. You just see the dude just like in shock.
Yeah.
Because
he wasn't expecting that. He thought the guy was going to take him. I was like, please leave my kids out of this.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
Don't let my boys see this.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to be
Alejandro wanted him to
feel for a moment of what he felt.
Yeah, but he wanted him to see, what's the best way to put this? You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And what you sow is me.
Yeah.
And then you created this.
Yeah.
Yes. From your choices. And then he just casually just points his gun at him and pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then after that, because that's a very important, powerful scene, but I think the most important scene of this whole film is the very end in the hotel room, or in Kate's
her
apartment.
house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like a hotel room, man. When she took, I think she took, what's his name there, didn't she?
John Berthnall.
Yeah.
And
It felt like it was a hotel room, but that's where she lives.
That's where, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing when we go back to that scene in the bar. There's something that's crucial about that scene is you finally realize, oh, this is where Kate lives.
Yeah.
She's just not here for like a quote unquote deployment. No, this is where she lives.
Yeah. That's
so
what
obviously she knows
me.
John Berthnall.
Yeah.
Obviously her partner knows him because all these law enforcement people know each other.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so just crazy that he tries to do this. Mm-hmm. Is he uses that to his advantage.
Yeah.
And it's just another little and that's another cool thing about this film is so Denis I can't say your last name, man. I'm so sorry. He likes to use color in certain colors in certain scenes because it's the next major plot point to pay attention to. He's very particular with yellow.
Okay.
He used yellow for Blade Runner 2049. God, yeah. And you see it in this film too, and shades of yellow too.
Yeah.
Is like the desert, shade of yellow.
Yeah.
Cold open, and you start to learn something. The border, shades of yellow out there again too, right? In her apartment with John Berthnall, this is another shade of yellow that you're about to learn.
Yeah.
Too. And then we keep moving on. Like the detention center, all the lights.
Oh, yeah. Hard yellows. Yeah.
Hard yellow. So he uses yellow to subtly be like, you're about to be given some information.
Okay. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Well, him and Roger Deakins. And again, Roger Deakins shot this film amazingly, beautifully.
Yeah, probably one of the best cinematographers in the industry right now.
Mm-hmm. So. I love all his stuff that he does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's big about, man, he likes still tungsten lights, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, back to this scene. And this is the end of her journey. And honestly, the end of her dehumanization, the end of her naivety, which is you have to sign this paper to make all this legal. But what if I don't?
Yeah.
Well,
you could be committed.
You'll be committing but I will kill you. Mm-hmm. And it's heartbreaking because this character has been like a mentor character to her, even though he already shot her in the chest.
Yeah.
And she's freaking out that he's even there. Mm-hmm. And she just like, you can see on her face that she would have never have chosen to do this if she knew what was going to happen. No. In the very beginning, when they asked her, do you want to do this?
Oh, you can tell that was, for her character, it's just, it's downhill the whole time.
If she would have known any of this, she would not have gone.
And he even says it, you need to move to a small town where the cops, you can be a real cop, where the, law is the law.
Yeah. Well, she is, for lack of a better term, a small girl, small fish, trying to play in a big pond, and she's not ready for this pond.
Yeah.
And he's been showing her incrementally along the way, you are not ready for this. You are not built
and he says
for
it
this.
The very first time they get ready to go into Juarez, when he's asked about, the why. You're asking how a clock works or watch works. Just worry about the time. And
just watch
your
and observe.
American ears won't be able to understand what's going on. Yeah. He already knew it. I'm going to talk about this real quick, and we'll get into our favorite section in a minute.
Okay.
If we would do it different. But her character, and it took me to the last watch because I was like, I hated her character, and I hated her character because I'm like, from the beginning, this is supposed to be a strong female character that's FBI. She comes in, about to get shot. Her whole world, starts with these bodies being found and stuff. And I always hated her character until I just recently watched it. And I realized for the writing aspect, and I may be wrong, but I think he did what a horror would do. It's like when you go, don't go in the woods, don't go in the woods. You have to have this character where you sit there and you go, she's seeing stuff that she can walk away, really. When it gets to the boss, I thought that's going to be a pivotal moment when her boss sits her down and is like, okay, bureaucracy is saying, you can, everything that you've known, you can go way outside the lines and you are not going to get in trouble. And then she's still playing good girl the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I thought that was going to be a pivotal. I really thought at that moment it was going to be, I'm getting on board.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a writing thing where that, you know, it's like I'm saying, like playing off of a horror where you go, you're going to go in the woods. Why are you going to do that? You're going to die, you know? And you keep thinking this character is going to be at that point changed, but she doesn't. And it leads to this great ending of, she's still so naive. She's literally getting ready to get her head blown off. When he's here, gonna make it look like with her own gun. Did you notice that it's her own gun?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, he had the glove on, and I was like, he is ready. This man is ready. And I was like, you're still literally, you have seen this world that you never want to be in, and you're still questioning. At the very end, just sign the paperwork. And your day is over. You can clock the hell out and go home, you know?
Well, it's not, I wouldn't necessarily say it's her naivety at that point.
Yeah.
I would say it's her morality. She has morals.
She does have morals.
He doesn't.
Oh, without doubt.
Well, and that's the thing. And that's another like little sub-theme about this film. It's morals versus none.
Yeah.
That's what this whole film's about.
Uh-huh.
And you're seeing how not having any morals can potentially be very destructive to someone who does have morals.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Like she isn't being resistive to him because of her naivety, because she knows what's going on now.
Oh, yeah.
She's being...
From going into war.
Especially from here. It's not that she's being naive. Like she knows the whole thing, what's going on. She thought this was done.
Yeah.
And now...
You got to sign off.
And now you have to sign off on this, and it really is done. And she goes, "No, like I'm not gonna do that. What we did was highly illegal, and I'm not about that. That's against my moral code." And he goes, "That's totally fine, but this is what's going to happen to you."
Yeah, and he even almost did. I think if I'm right, he asked her once. Ask her twice, and he gives her the pen, and it's kind of like third strike, you're out. That's when he gets over, and he gets the gun up to her, and you could just tell he is giving her as much time as she needs, because I think that's also that character. I mean, when she's dead, it's signed off anyway. I mean, realistically, they'll get somebody from the department to sign off if they got to put a gun to Reggie's head, you know. But it's like you see he still has this kind of feeling for her because there's this big bad murderer and he's still giving her time. I mean, at the table, he gave them time and he plugged them all, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's also showing this very calm killer in a way. And I can't remember the second film as much. Maybe we need to watch that one day. But I think he's calm in that one too. He's just a very...
Well, yeah. So... he is a man who knows himself now.
Yeah.
I would say he's a man who can go from 0 to 60 in a nanosecond. And when I mean that, I mean by like go from 0% violence to 100% violence.
Oh yeah.
Like that.
And then revert back.
And revert back.
Yeah.
And the thing about being like that is you're not going to be like overly aggressive in any sort of sense. You're literally going to be calm. But this is also the thing too, is because in that scene, that's when he says, just so you know, you remind me of my daughter. But that won't stop me from doing this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he's giving her a little leeway, but at the end of the day, like, this is a mission and I have to do this.
Yeah. And even when he says that thing about the daughter, it leads up, you know, like he tells with the Bernthal situation, he says, you remind me of somebody special, but he doesn't say daughter.
No.
And I think it also plays off the innocence of his daughter being Kate. And, you know, I have a feeling, and I wanted to ask you, I have a feeling that his daughter, because he's an older man, he's like in his late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that she's about Kate's age.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or she would have been. Or she
would have been, even when she died.
Yeah.
Because it's like when he keeps saying, like, little girl, you know, my little girl, you think that they took, you know, I mean, 8-year-old. And then you realize this probably just happened within the last few years. And he's seeing Kate. And I think that also plays off at the end, like, you know, You remind me of her, and it plays off that she was very innocent. She had nothing. She really, her death and the mother's death was really just because they really did not like him or he did something wrong.
Yeah. Well, there's like another point you could be making about this film is all of his interactions with her. He's doing the best he can to preserve her innocence.
Yeah. Keep her. Even he tells her to get out of the car in the beginning because he wants her to be safe. You know, get on the other side of the car.
Yeah,
and even like he watches over with the Bernthal situation.
He needs her to move so he has a better shot.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too.
Shot,
but it seems like he was trying to cater to keeping her innocent, keeping her as far from this as she can. And then also, I mean, like going back to the father thing, I mean, he was watching her. He was the first one in when Bernthal was choking her. Yeah. I thought it would be Brolin. And when you first see it.
Why would you think it would be Brolin?
Because I thought originally it would be Brolin because Brolin, I think, needed her more than he needed her. She was already approved for the Joint Task Force. It's kind of like, I figured it'd be a little bit more, I don't think it'd be much more paperwork for like a CIA operative, but I think it would have drawn some like, what happened to your person we gave you, you know?
Well, you also have to look at their interactions. So he's humoring her or belittling her.
Yeah.
Alejandro is still treating her like a human being.
Yeah.
And he's also probably been tasked with somewhat protecting her.
Yeah.
Not Josh Brolin.
And this is why I think it would be Josh Brolin, the first one in the room. Because he told her, he said, don't go in the bank. Don't go in. I thought it was going to be him coming in there, putting a gun to the dude's head and looking at her being like, I told you don't go in the bank.
No, not to me. It makes more sense with it being Alejandro because, again, in the interrogation scene, like the guy's like, help me. He's like, you had your chance.
Yeah.
No. Oh, and that's how Josh Brolin's character is. Yeah. It's like, you had your chance, and now you get to reap what you sow.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah. Maybe that's what this episode should be called.
Reap what you sow. Okay, if you could do it different, how would you do it?
All right, so we're in the apartments, and he has the gun under her chin, and like you have a call to make, and so she ultimately decides to sign this thing, and then he says the line. And I think it's very important to notice because this is essentially her character. This is a land of wolves, and you are not one.
You're not one, yeah.
And then he disassembles that gun and then leaves.
Yeah.
And this is her point. And this is also his point, too, is she goes, reassembles her gun, racks it, it's ready to go, pops out the balcony and points it at him. And what does he do? He just turns around. It's like...
Just waiting. He's like, you have the balls to shoot me.
Yeah.
Do you have them?
Yeah. Or are you a wolf?
Yeah. And I think he was waiting to see.
He was.
Yeah.
He was testing her. And she doesn't, and he turns around and leaves. But that is why she's not a wolf, and I don't think she'll stay. She won't do another operation like that again.
Oh, and she might even change her whole job career after that. She might be working at Walmart as a groceries person, you know?
Maybe. But yeah, I just like, it's a very powerful scene.
Oh, yeah. Especially they put that tastefully in at the end. Yeah.
So now, what would you want to do if this was your film?
If it was different, this is one of the few I'd like leave almost everything alone. The actors were great the whole time. The story, I mean, this is one of the few that I would be like, I wouldn't do anything with it. I'm trying to think. I mean, I was going to try to ask you to see what kind of ideas came off you, because I've been thinking the whole time, because I know that's one of the segments we always talk about is how would you do something different? If I had all the money and let's just say I had to do something different, right? It wasn't Sicario. Here's the script. You got to do it. I mean, I probably wouldn't have cast Benicio Del Toro because I wouldn't even thought of him playing that role, you know? I never would have thought of him being that strong of a character in that role. Josh Brolin, that's what I'm saying. The way they did this film, it would be hard to, I mean, I love everything about this film. But if I had to do it different,
Well,
I'd probably play off Narcos.
Well,
the TV show.
Let's say this. I mean, like, we've never had a situation like this before. Well, maybe we had with one of the things we've already talked about. But you can say, like, there's nothing I would do different to it. Like, that's okay.
There's nothing I would do different to it. You can
say that. I wouldn't say it's a cop-out.
If you asked me, though, if I didn't watch it, like, last night, I would have been bashing the hell out of her character. Because, like I said when we was talking about it before, I started looking at it like a horror. Like, her character had a role to keep fighting this whole opposition, even when she was told. It's like if you would have asked me if we didn't, like, if I would have watched it, we would have done this yesterday instead of me watching the show, the movie last night. I would have been like, hey, I would have made her character, at a certain point there, you've got, coloring outside the lines, she got with it. But then as it took me one more watch to realize her character's perfect. She's exactly what this world needs. She's not a wolf, as you said. And she plays, she's by the book. She's by the law. She wants to see the law being upheld. I mean, that's one of the, like I said, if we would have talked about this a week ago or yesterday before I watched it, I'd probably be like, hey, I'd be redoing her whole character design, making her more of, at a point, seeing that there is, a line that does get crossed in the real world where, factions or something are like, hey, it's okay to fix this problem and you're going to have to do it by any means necessary, being very violent. I would have probably made her get with it. But
I also thought it was a very interesting choice. And you don't really realize this, but like in the beginning of the film, she's wearing a blue shirt that's very just like clean and crisp. And by the end of the film, you see she's wearing a gray shirt that's dirty and filthy. It's got a bunch of shit on it.
I didn't even think about that.
And honestly, it's sort of it's an image that shows her character.
Innocent and gray.
Well, from innocent to gray. Yeah. And it shows, how she has been sort of torn apart from being in this operation.
Oh yeah,
and she'll probably never be the same again.
Oh yeah, especially being attacked by a fellow law enforcement.
Yeah,
I think that probably really screwed her up more than anything.
Oh yeah,
was somebody that she went to see play, softball, as she said, really liked, brought him in her house to screw him, right? And I think that changed her whole world. Like, these people exist on our side of the fence, and they're supposed to be like her character, very law by the book. I think that broke her at that point.
Yeah.
How would you do it different? Or would you say the same thing?
There's nothing I would do different, guys. It's not a cop-out answer. It's just an honest answer.
And we'll probably come across those movies.
We will come across a few movies where it will be like that. And that's totally okay.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably come across movies. I guess we have too. Like, I'm going to take it like Bloodsport. I redo the whole damn thing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But let's do the whole thing all over again. Yeah. No, with Sicario, there's nothing I could do different. Now, what's really cool is this is the first of a unofficial neo-Western trilogy of Taylor Sheridan. So this was the first one. The second one is Hell or High Water.
That's what I was thinking of. Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
What did I say before? High Wind or something?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
And then the third one. And
who's in Hell and High Water? Is it Chris Pine? It is
Chris Pine, Jeff Daniels, Gil Birmingham, I believe is his last name.
Who's the old guy? What is it? Hold on, wait. They're in the, God, we need to probably watch that one day.
We can.
When they're in the diner and the woman, she says, nobody gets it down.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. No, I'm saying the man character, the older Western dude.
Oh, yeah, that.
He was, is it just Jeff Daniels? No, it ain't Jeff Daniels.
No, it's not Jeff Daniels. Why do we say Jeff Daniels?
Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, thank you.
It took me a minute to realize.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kept thinking, I thought he wrote that one too, Hell or High Water.
He wrote that one. He did not direct it.
Yeah.
And then the final one in the trilogy is Wind River. Now that one he wrote and he directed.
Yeah. And that's one of your favorite films, isn't it?
It is. I actually did a bunch of scenes from that film in acting class.
And you got me to watch it. I know Casey watched it.
Casey watched it?
Yeah, because you came by and you was talking about it.
Okay, cool.
And he watched it. And that's when I was like, okay, let me watch it. And I've watched it a few times.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. And it's kind of like thinking about like this and Wind River. I didn't realize that's his first three.
Yeah.
It's like he wants you to open your eyes to the world. Even Hell and High Water. Does. What was I forgot the plot of that one was the mother was
basically sick. They're robbing banks so they can
buy the house.
So they're robbing particular banks because they are essentially robbing them of their house. Mm-hmm. And so they're trying to use the bank's money that's robbing them to pay off their house. Yeah. That's sort of a you to that bank.
And it seems like in those first, see, I didn't know that was the first three kind of scripts he did. Mm-hmm. And I guess you kind of see like in Wind River, it's, the Native Americans, as I say, Indians, are, that people, they're disappearing. Nobody gives a Nobody really gives a
What he does is he is opening up a window to worlds that people don't really know that much about.
Yeah.
He did it with this one with the Mexican border and the drug war that's going on.
Beast. Yeah.
He did it with not so much like he did it with ranches in Texas, in specifically West Texas, because I think that's where the main characters live is West Texas, but Texas proper. He even does a little cameo in it, and he talks about the state of ranching. And then in Wind River, he talks about the
disappearing. Nobody cares.
It's just like not. Yes, that happens, but what he's really talking about is just these forgotten people. That's what he's really doing.
The real owners of America, in a way.
Yeah, he's creating characters to really speak about the native tribes of North America and what has happened to them and what is happening to them. And this thing is sort of a device. It's a real world thing that does happen to them, but we're using it to just show you how these people are living.
And in a way,
because they are, in a sense, a forgotten people.
Yeah. And also say, in a way, thinking about Sicario and Wind River, it shows also like the bipartisan in a way, okay, like Mexico and America working together. But in Wind River, it kind of flops. You see the native police are having a harder time because they're not as well funded. Mm-hmm. And they still want to be like, we're going to do this case ourselves. And then they got the one FBI agent, was it Olsen?
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah. Coming in, it's like, we're just going to, America's like, we're going to send you one, Mm-hmm. That's what you get. You get one. So it kind of plays off, like Sicario. We've got a big bad problem and both countries want to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And Wind River, you see also, it's kind of a weird bipartisan in a way, but a sadder side of it. I guess I don't even.
People throw out the word bipartisan. I don't even really understand what that means.
I know it means two oppositions. I don't either. I'm just using the
word. Why would you use it then?
I don't know. I have to look it up. Bipartisan. You'll see it on the bottom of the screen somewhere.
I try not to use words I don't know what they mean.
Bipartisan.
Not to call you out on it. I'm sorry.
It's where two. I know, like politically, I'm not too big in politics, but where two parties have to work to get either a bill, written or So that's why I was saying, like the bipartisan of Mexico, as in two different parties working to get to the point. Bipartisan.
Okay.
I'll look it up and I'll put it right there.
I think I learned something.
Ooh. I taught you something. Ooh,
maybe.
Or maybe I have not became the master.
I'll give it to you.
What are we going to watch next time?
Well, we're not done yet.
We're not done yet?
We're not done yet. What would you rate this movie?
Oh, I forgot about that. The whole rating system.
The whole rating system.
Dude, I know on our rating system, like I said, I've seen it I think 3 times this year. So it's like when it's on, I'm hooked, man. I want to sit down and watch it. It's one of the
So it's money well spent.
Oh, yeah. And if I had to go see it in the theater, if they,
did a re-release?
I would do it.
Yeah, I'd go. Yeah.
Especially like a discount Tuesday. I mean, you wouldn't be spending too much money, but I would even pay full price to watch it on a big screen again.
We might even do a part 2 of Sicario because there's just so much to talk about, and we kind of glazed over a lot of it. There's a lot of small details.
There is.
With story and plot and just structure on how you write. Just, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about.
This one's the very one that it could, I mean, we could do 3 episodes based on it because it is one of those films that you get, there's a lot to talk about. Scenes and everything. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I think this might just be like
Part
a
1.
over bloated but basic overview of Sicario.
Sicario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that, actually.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No,
sometimes you come back to the good ones. Yeah.
All right. So what are we watching next? Well, we will be watching, well, it's your choice. So how about you talk about it?
I made a little list up of some things to potentially watch.
Okay.
I've been trying to be more organized. Just some potentials you guys might be able to see. I got The Losers.
Okay.
Love that movie. How you feel about it?
I have not seen that in like
Same.
10 years.
Same. Ocean's 11.
Okay.
Haven't seen that in forever. Even the spinoff I like to watch with Sandra Bullock, where she's the...
Oh, Ocean's 8.
Is it Ocean's 8? Let me write that
when it's
down.
like, yeah, I think it's Ocean's 8. Yeah.
I think it's Ocean's 8. A Quiet Place as a horror.
We can do that.
That's definitely something worth talking about. For our terribly horrible, how do you feel about Sharknado?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't either, man. I've seen bits and pieces, but I do know that it's one of those horrible movies that potentially it made a lot of money. So would you be maybe plan
we could do that
terribly awesome movie?
Yeah, we could do that one at some point.
I got
if we're going that route at some point, maybe we should list all these Sci-Fi Channel originals, like the good ones.
Yeah,
from
I didn't think about
from
that.
the aughts.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Because they did, man. They made
some really interesting, good, like low quality, but like surprisingly good,
really well.
And then, honestly, around Sharknado time frame, they just became.
They did, but it made a lot of money,
but not in a good way.
12 Monkeys, potentially the original, and not the TV show.
All right,
I've got a few. Code 8. I got Wind River. I did write that one down.
Okay.
Meet Joe Black. Abraham Lincoln. Vampire Hunter.
I do remember that one.
That movie.
I do remember that one.
But that's some of the notable ones that
Well, what are we watching next week, though?
What do you think?
I already know what we're watching next week.
Oh, we are watching next week. We are going to watch The Creator.
There you go. I've been waiting for him to say it.
I kept thinking, I was like, okay. I was like, hold on, I got some notable watches. Now, The Creator was 2019 or 2020?
2023. 2020.
Okay, damn, it's newer. I thought it was. This is the first time you went to the theaters to watch it. Yeah. I didn't. This is the first time I'm going to be watching it, so I should say.
The visuals are beautiful. They got away with so much because I know off the top of my head the budget was $80 million.
Yeah,
and they shot it with literally a Sony Ajax 3 or something like that.
It was the FX, I think, 3.
FX3. Yeah. It's basically a off the counter kind of
$2,000
camera.
Yeah, $2,000 or $3,000 camera.
Yeah. And they shot a big budget motion picture with it, and it's definitely a masterpiece in putting all your money on the screen.
Yeah.
It has Denzel Washington's son in it.
Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of notable.
Ken Wannabe is in it. Gemma Chan is in it, or Jenna Chan is in it. It's a sci-fi film, and we hope that you will be excited for it next week.
I'm looking forward to it. I've only seen the trailers so far.
It's amazing in all the best ways.
All right.
Next
week, guys, and we are